create sound when you walk down the sidewalk, when you breathe, like when you sit down to write an email, like, I don't know, to your landlord or to like your boss or something, you're creating something that wasn't there before. So I think everybody is a person who creates.
Creativity to me means like taking time out of your day to be yourself in some manner of expression, whether it's, finding a way to express yourself in some form that helps you. And sometimes it means that when you have a problem, like looking at it through a different approach or thinking outside the box.
Creativity means to me just going about your life and noticing the little things more than just like, I mean, obviously like creativity, like you're creating something, but I don't think it's necessarily just the act of creation. Like, I don't know, I saw a really cool moth on my building the other day. It was like all white and fuzzy and I was like, that's really cool. Like, and in a way, I guess that is thinking about things in a different way, but it's like seeing those small differences from just like run-of-the-mill everyday life helps you to make those informed decisions on how to create or like how to do things in like a different way.
Yeah, I definitely think it's helpful to be creative. When you take the time to be creative, you allow yourself to grow as an individual and bring something to the table that can impact others as well as yourself. And that's important.
I think it's super helpful to be creative. Like, again, it's that looking at a situation and not just seeing it for what it is, but picking it up and like turning it around and seeing it from all sides.
I think for me, I've used creativity in my own life to write poetry. I have my own personal poetry blog, so from that, I use creativity. I serve on Theta's recruitment committee, and I feel like we're always trying to find new ways to recruit. So we started a podcast. So that was something I did that was creative. I was thinking about that. I use creativity just, as I said, like basic problem solving skills on a regular basis. Whatever comes up. In leadership, I use creativity a lot to run things differently, try new things. So I think creativity is not like one sort of spot in my life, but it's like in everything I do, I value it, and I value other people's creativity to be like, oh yeah, I agree with you, let's try it.
I use creativity in my own life to solve problems. Also, I all of my career pursuits are creative, like, well, traditionally, everything's like creative in its own way, but traditionally creative things. So not a day goes by that I don't rely on creativity.
I don't really think there's a difference between the two. I think of myself as someone who is creative, but I also think that I am someone who creates. So
That's a tough one. I think that everybody creates. Like I answered before a little bit, like everybody creates when they speak. This is really like cheesy and woo-woo, but like you create sound when you walk down the sidewalk, when you breathe, like when you sit down to write an email, like, I don't know, to your landlord or to like your boss or something, you're creating something that wasn't there before. So I think everybody is a person who creates. Creativity, I think, again, kind of goes into like, it's kind of like a little tool you use on an everyday basis rather than like, oh, this is a creative person because they make art or whatever. But if we're talking about it in that sense, then yes, I do think that I've always known I was a creative person. When I was little, like the first job I wanted to have was, I want to be an artist. And then I discovered acting and music. And now I'm like, why not all three?
I don't think I have one particular thing that inspires me most, but I think I go based off what is like I guess at certain points, what's coming to me most at certain times and what I'm dealing with at the moment, that usually is my source of inspiration. And I do think, though, that the most inspirational source for me is always conversations with people.
In terms of acting, I let me.
Okay, it's okay.
In terms of, nope. Cool. Okay, we're gonna try that again.
That's fine.
I think it's. I think it depends on which creative medium. I think it depends on which creative medium we're talking about as to like what inspires me to create. It really depends. Like, and it's different for each one. Like acting, when I'm approaching a script, like I do a lot of like research and like I learn as much as I can from the director and writers if like they're available. Like what is this character? Who are they? Like what have they experienced, good and bad? And then you do where are they from? That's a huge thing. I do research and then that inspires my performance. For photography, I just really like taking pictures of people and drawing people. Photography and art are kind of the same. People are so cool. Like I do love clouds.
Yeah.
I love taking pictures of clouds and taking pictures of and drawing pictures of clouds and plants. But like they've got nothing on people. People are the coolest.
You know, for me, when I think nature, I'm not a nature person, so it's not the earth around me that inspires me. I think sometimes beyond conversation, the broader aspect is relationships.
Yeah.
I think relationships are a form of nature, just because we're humans and very habitual and like to have relationships. We're very communicative. So for me, I think relationships, no matter what they be, whether they be romantic, friendship, mentor and mentee, whatever it can be, I think those are often great inspiration points, learning points, growing points for someone.
I see creativity everywhere in nature. I'm very much like a nature person. The thing that I'll point to first is like trees in particular. Like this is again very woo woo, but trees are so clever. Like they have you ever seen pictures of like trees that like refuse to touch each other and it's like crown shyness? Like they're aware of each other and like they could keep growing and interlock, and some trees do but some trees don't. And plants in general, like I keep a lot of plants and like they're always like I turn them around to make sure like every week or so to make sure that each side gets light, and slowly over the course of days you'll just see like leaves just go to face the sun, and it's really cool. And animal behaviors, animals are super creative. I think the more and more humans research animals, the more we learn about like it's not just monkeys and great apes that like find creative solutions to things. A lot of birds are super smart. Octopi are so smart. I'm so glad they can't breathe oxygen or they would take over the world. Yeah, just lots of that. And just the design of things too, I think is super, super beautiful. Like, I mean, there's the golden ratio that appears absolutely everywhere. And I am a person I am a little biased because I am a person who does consider herself a Christian. So I'm like, okay, well, this is like I kind of see it all as design in some way, but like it's just cool that like no matter where you look, you can find like the golden spiral or the golden ratio or the Fibonacci sequencing like on a pine cone. I think there's art everywhere. Like if there weren't, people wouldn't sell art prints of pine cones.